to talk about books, maybe some programming once in a while. But today we're talking about my 2022 tier list of the books I read and where they land. Okay, so I might have forgotten some, but what I have here are the 27 books that I'm sure I read, and we're gonna have a look at them, place rank them on tier list, and see where the chips fall. So let's start with something easy so we can get it out of the way. I think we're going to start with Jade City, which is easily S tier, top of S tier. It's this book and this book series is so good. Like, I would recommend anyone who likes urban fantasy to read this and just like put it at the top of your TBR. It's something else, really. It's so good. I can't even like describe it. Like the whole Jade War as well. It's the second book, and Jade Legacy, which really takes Legacy seriously. By the way, this is over a pretty City and War is over a pretty short span of time, and then Legacy is like huge in the span of time. It really means Legacy. And there's also a short story which I also really enjoyed. I don't know if it's S tier. It's probably A tier. That's that universe. I would highly recommend it. It's by Fundally. It's amazing. It's like if you like urban fantasy, it's like kind of Earth, but it's not Earth. And where would I say it starts technologically wise? There are TVs and stuff. It's probably starting the is it the 50s, 60s maybe? And it's kind of modern day. I don't think there's cell phones. But I think cell phones come later. I read this at the start of the year. And the magic system is based around Jade and people getting all the stuff you were probably seeing kung fu movies, like all the supernatural stuff. That's how it explained. They use Jade. Yeah. Let's take something that's not as high on the list. I think we're gonna do Gideon the Ninth. And the other books in this series. And I think Gideon is like a low B. It starts pretty slow, then the second half of the books gets pretty good. And we have Harrow, the second book. It's about necromancers, space necromancers in the future. It's very quippy. I would say if you like Joss Whedon humor, there's like quite a bit of that kind of humor. It's a C. Like a lot of this book, I think is not good. It's told in second person. It can be hard to get through. Like if I'm gonna be honest with you, but the ending is quite good and like hooks me enough to read more. I'm also reading these books because this is a pick from over on my the podcast I do, the Dresden Files podcast, where we also have another show called While We Weren't Recording. We talk about different things there, and we, amongst other things, have done book series, and this is one of the other cast members' favorite series. So that's why we read that. I would say it's better. This is definitely better than Harrow. But it's kind of incomplete because it was supposed to be like more. It was split. It was supposed to be one book. The second book's not out yet. So therefore, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. You get a lot of answers in this, but still more questions. But it's a lot better than Harrow, I think. I don't know if it's better than Gideon. So I'm gonna put it in B for now. And there is Rebred the Gates, which is a D. I did not finish it. I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish it. I read the other books in this series, the Ember and the Ashes, like fantasy set in like a Middle Eastern kind of setting. I think it is, from what I remember. And I actually really liked the first book, and the next two books were like above average good books. And this one's probably good too. The problem is I listened to this on audiobook. They changed the narrator of the male POV, and I really it's really jarring to me when they changed the narrators, and I just couldn't finish it. And because I couldn't finish it, it goes into D because I didn't finish it. So what else do we have here? We have Legendborn, decent let's see. I'll say B. It's like a pretty decent, academic secret society YA feeling book based around Arthurian legends. It was a decent read. Not fantastic. I was craving something university based after some other books. So yeah. I will check out the next one, and then I don't know from there. We'll see how that one is. It's an okay book. If you're into like a YA-ish academia setting book, secret societies, check it out. Stephen King's Fairy Tale. That's my second Stephen King book ever. The first one being The Institute. I've only read new Stephen King stuff, but I watched a lot of Stephen King based movies, and I really like them. I have loved both of these books. It's very high A or low S. I'm gonna put it in high A for now. It's like, I really, really like it. It's like the first half of the book is pretty much just mundane, going through the life of this like young man, late teens, end of high school, and how he befriends this crotchety old man and like a worn down house and his dog, and the relationship with the dog is great, and then magical stuff happens, and Fairy Tale is a fantasy book, and yeah, it goes from there. And let me spoiler free here, but really good. And Stephen King, same thing with The Institute. The first 50 pages or so is a guy going about his life, doing things, and it pulls you in. He's as you know, I mean, he's one of the most popular authors in the world, and I see why. And I need to read more Stephen King. That's for damn sure. Next up, Convenience Store Woman, I believe this book is called. It's short stories. It takes place in Japan. I would say it's kind of an, I don't know if she's autistic, but definitely out of the norm woman, living her life, and we follow that. It's won some awards, I believe, and stuff, and it was quite a good book. I don't know. It's hard to place, but I liked it. I think it's just like, I liked it more than Gideon, that's for sure. I think I like Legendborn more here as well than both of these. So we're gonna put that here. Yeah, it's pretty short. Didn't take me long to read. And that was on Kindle, not audiobooks. So I don't know about the audiobook. Most of these are audiobooks. What else do we have? We have the new Dresden Files short story, which over on the podcast, if you want to check that out. We did like a reveal of the day when it came out. We had the author on, and we had James Masters on, which is like kind of funny if you know anything about Dresden. He's read all the Dresden Files books, except this one and one other short story the authors read back in the day. Like, but they asked him if he wanted to come on, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm game." And you know, it's just it's like one of the few books he has not read in the series. It was a great conversation. It was super cool to meet James Masters. Like, I watched Buffy as a teenager. It's like, it was unreal that actually happened. Like, it's unreal that we had the author on 3 times. Like, it's just crazy. And now we had James Masters on too, which is like, you know, I grew up watching Buffy and Angel and his Spike, and yeah, just crazy. But as for the book, I'd say it's quite a good Dresden book. It's a bit of a weak follow up to what happened in the last book, so that it suffers a bit from that. But you know, I love Dresden a lot. I've read those books a lot of times. It's up here. It's A tier, I think. Middle A. Next up, we're on to Atlas 6. I wanted to read some Dark Academia. I felt like it was quite interesting. Like, it's something I want to read more of. A book I read a couple of years ago by Leah Badugo was like quite good and made me wanna read that more. This genre that I wasn't really that much aware of before that. And this one was like raved about, really, really, like everybody was loving it. I mean, it's a decent book. I don't know. I'm not that big on the hype train on this one. I'm not even sure I'm reading the next one. The ending did make it quite appealing to read the next one. So we'll see. Another Dark Academia book is Babel, which is a way better Dark Academia book. I think it's a solid 8 here. I think it's above both these short stories. Not better than Stephen King's book. I really like that one. Takes a young boy to England, where he gets brought up by a professor with the purpose of him to go to the Babel Institute, or it's Oxford University, and there's this Babel society there that's like they control the magic of England. Basically, they inscribe translations of words from one language to another that has roots together, I believe, and the meaning between those words that are twisted, you can use as magic. Treacle, I think the word is in English. It's then used together with some other word, like that means something like medicine or healing. And because that meaning has been lost, because treacle in England is like a sweet, I believe, the meaning of the healing has been lost. So because it's been twisted and the healing is lost in between the words, you can use that to heal. So that's like an early example. And this is like the whole, it's like if you took, it's kind of historical as well. It's like if you took the English imperialism of the time, late 1800s, early 1900s, I think, something like that. It's kind of like Industrial Revolution time, where this magic is used instead. Very, very good book. Lots of footnotes and like quite language nerdy, but in a good way. It was entertaining. Very good book. I did a Harry Potter reread for the first time in a long, long time. I've read these books 50 times or something easily. I read them again and again as a teenager. That's what got me into reading when I was 12. Like, they are, I guess, just go full here for a second. Like, they are fundamental to me and to a lot of people. It's how I started reading. It's really hard to put them in, like, I'm completely biased. Like, this is also my list, so I can't be biased, but it's like some of the books are better than the others, but like it's really hard to say where they should go, what's what. Well, I'll try, but these books are fundamental. I love them dearly. It was really nice to reread them. I've also reread Dresden a lot. I'm trying to not reread as much anymore. I enjoy rereading, but I also have a lot of books I want to get through and other stuff. And it's just really hard to find rereading and try to get all these new books in that comes out. But the most important thing is to enjoy it. The first 3, I don't even know. Can I make another can I make another rank that's just like Harry Potter, because I'm not logged in on this browser. I don't think I can add to it. Oh hey, this has a presentation mode? I probably should have used that from the start. Well, we're sticking with the normal we're sticking with the normal view this time. Next time, presentation mode. I'll put these in this tier, all the Harry Potter books. I don't know how else to. There's the last tier. And there's one missing. I read all of them. There's 7 books. There's 6 here, so I forgot to add one. So I read 28 books. And I don't even know about the order. If I were to like say the order, I think Goblet of Fire is one of my favorites. This one's really good because it's like got me into it. Actually, I think this might be Goblet of Fire. It's the tournament. I think maybe it tickles my fancy. I like tournaments. I think this is like Deathly Hollows and Half-Blood Prince. I don't know these covers. I have Harry Potter books. I have the Ravenclaw special edition over here. I have the adult paperbacks as well. I have my original Danish books up here, over here too. But these covers I don't know that well. Chamber of Secrets is here, and I don't know which one's missing. Something like that. Wait, no, there's a Harry Potter book here. Can't tell. It's too small. I just took the pictures off Goodreads. It's just Harry Potter. Like, what's to say? What can you say? It's Harry Potter. Next book. Probably the best book of the year to me. Joe Abercrombie's Wisdom of Crowds. It's the First Law universe. It's probably the best grimdark fantasy you can read. It's every book's like a 10 out of 10. So good. I don't know what to say. It's also the third book in a second trilogy after 3 standalones after a short story collection. So I can't say much without like spoiling. It's an amazing book. Like I say, it's an amazing world. Read it. So next we got Soulbrand by Andrew Rowe. This is what he has coined, and what I would say is a fair description of his books are progression fantasy. They are all really good as books. He's got like 3 series in the same universe. One's very classical. I've read all of these. I should do a focus on these books, on this world. I've been meaning to do it. It's just like, you know, I don't get started on doing these videos. So, but anyway, you know, this is Soulbrand, 3rd book in the Weapon and Wielder series. I would say this is the most lighthearted series. Then you got the Waterbroken Mirrors, like I was talking about. It's the most serious. It's what would you say, the most classical. It's 3rd person. Every other book is 1st person. It's very good. It's not as good as the other books in the Weapon and Wielders. I think this is like an A somewhere here. I was like the ending was a little bit disappointing in this one. Other than that, it was very good. But yeah, I felt a little bamboozled by the ending. We got the Ember Blade, which is like a very classical fantasy book. But if it was like, you know, a modern fantasy book, I would say Spencer, we're from the Fantasy Files podcast, don't agree with me here, but it definitely has sprinkles of grimdark in it. It's much more gritty, realistic fantasy book, but you know, it starts classical. Boy from village-ish, shit happens, stuff happens, goes on an adventure, goes like it's, you know, but with a more realistic and grit to it. More fleshed out characters. The world feels very deep and real, and like you just wanna explore more. It's really good. I think it might even be. I think it's better than Stephen King's book for me, but not exactly S tier. Then we have the Powder Mage trilogy, which I went through pretty quickly. Kind of like the audiobook is amazing. Speaking of audiobook, the reader for Joe Abercrombie's book series is the best audiobook narrator there is, and there's just no contest. He's so good. Anyway, Powder Mage trilogy. Really, like I've had it on my TBR for a long time, and I finally just got around to it. I was like, okay, now let's do it. Let's get it done. And it was really good, really, really good. I would say the first book, probably the best book. I think it goes into the bottom of the S tier. And the other 2 it's like high A, because the ending again didn't really stick for me. The second book was actually, I think, like, oof, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go with that. We follow, I would say this is an 1800-ish world. You know, we're talking flintlock fantasy here, with a very fleshed out Brandon Sanderson-ish magic system. I believe also that this author studied under Brandon Sanderson, like at university. He teaches there. I believe he has like a seminar or some sort. Brian McClellan, sorry if I butchered that, is the author. It's good. It's really, really good. Solid series. The first one's the best one. The next two are really good. A little bit of a problem with the ending. It's Flintlock Fantasy. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit here, but whatever. It's Flintlock Fantasy. It's set in that era. It takes place right after like a military leader overthrow. That's like, this is like the setup. This is where it starts. The military leader overthrows the king because the king's not doing his job to serve his people. We follow this leader as a point of view character. We follow his son. We follow an inspector, and we follow a servant, a washing woman, laundress, I believe the title is. I think those are the point of views we follow, and they're all good. There's a little bit, like, the world is super interesting. You can really feel there's a lot of world building here. The magic system's very fleshed out. This is also just a little bit about the world. I don't really feel it spoils anything. There are like 3 kind of casters, I think, of magic users. 4 kinds. There are privileged, classic mages, elemental mages. They can use elements. Then there are powder mages, which are like hybrids. They like get their power from gunpowder. They can suck, like, if someone fires a gun, they can suck the blast out of it and redirect it. They can make gunpowder explosions bigger. They can make it fly further. They can ingest gunpowder to become stronger, faster. And I think that's about it. Then there are these special talents called Knacked, and they can have like this super hyper focus thing. Like, one character that's in all the books is Olem. Olem has this knack that he does not need to sleep. So that, like, it's like some sort of hyper focused specialized magic. Don't need to sleep, can see in the dark, etc. And then there's also that's not explained that much, but it's quite important to the books. There's like kind of a blood mage there, and you'll see. I'm not gonna say much more about that. That's my reading year for 2022. I had a goal of 40 books. I hit 28, but it's only an arbitrary goal. It's just for fun. I enjoyed reading them. I'm looking forward to 2023. I might do, if I can get around to it, I'll do a video about some books I want to read at the start of next year. Yeah, that's it. I've been Lance. This has been my little corner of YouTube, and next video is coming whenever I can fight off the apathy to do another one.